Welcome back again, everybody. Word Traction Podcast, and this is Elon's micro interest. When you're after the largest IPO in history, right off the top, you don't want to wish misfortune on a business leader or an innovator because perhaps there are mom and pops investing in such companies that show tremendous promise. And Elon is someone who has proven with Tesla and and other ventures to be an enormously intelligent human being. But at the same time, he is a irritating fuck and snubs his nose at American laws. He was the chainsaw guy in the Doge mini drama, and he is an avowed racist, miserable to his kids, reportedly all 17 of them or whatever the number is now, and a absent father. I mean, not all of us are great at that either, but maybe seven times over. There's a track record, and a Nazi. So he has all that going for him too. I was looking at the short interest, the percentage of short sellers that are dabbling in the SpaceX waters, and that amount is over 30%, which is high. There are certain industries where they're very speculative and short interests historically have run high. And, think about biopharma. You're in the business of drug discovery and you're waiting on trials and initial trials and double blind trials and all of the different versions of that, and it's a long process and it's capital intensive, as those companies always tell us when they charge us $1,000 a pill in the end. But it is it's extraordinarily expensive for all of the R&D that goes into a drug that may never get approved. Now, of course, in the Trump administration, all you have to do is grease the right wheel and put a bear in every trunk, and everybody is happy, and you get your approval. Damn the consequences and the implications for the American public, because by the time that goes into production and it hits the market, and people suffer from that drug, then Trump and RFK may have shuffled off the mortal coil to some other place. We can but hope. But Elon, the short interest is it's high. There are other companies, other large multi-billion dollar. Not there's never been a one with the same market cap, but there have been some large companies that have garnered a lot of short interest, and in the speculative day trader sphere, that's something that's tracked rather closely. But of course, I think that I don't know what it was before Doge. We'll subtract out the MAGA folks that are the red pill sucking cult members. And I think the rest, it's safe to say that the rest of the American public has a negative opinion of, um, of Elon Musk. And if you go across the pond and talk to our friends in Europe and England, it is 5x the disdain that we hold for him here in the US, because there's a loyalty to the hustle, I guess, here in the US. Like, hey, he's an innovator, he chose to come here. The PayPal mafia, uh you know Reid Hoffman, complicated, and many of the other stars of that PayPal mafia are Peter Thiel and otherwise, have a lot of ghosts and shadows and pimples that we kind of look the other way because these guys are brilliant and they do create tremendous value, certainly for themselves. But when the capital markets work correctly, and the stock market, which is of course not the economy, works correctly, and there aren't corrupt influences like there are currently infiltrating every level of the markets, then people's 401ks are important to their ability to retire in a way that they hope for their entire working lives. And the threat of AI, of course, makes people apprehensive about that, particularly folks that are mid-career or early career, not knowing if they can hope for the same sort of circumstances that their parents faced when they retired. That is a worldwide dilemma now, and it ain't going to be over tomorrow. But Elon, of course, is a very specific kind of fascist, and he has people gunning for him in every sphere. Right? So in Neuralink, there are accusations currently that he was doing. This is almost too macabre and horrible to think about. But what kind of tests was he doing on what kind of animals with Neuralink to find out whether he can rewire living beings? Now, the promise of Neuralink, of course, and don't listen to Elon because he'll tell you that, if Christopher Reeve were still here, he would be flying again because he's a lying piece of shit. Right? But eventually, somebody, Elon or otherwise, will invent, will come up with a technological development if the AI bots don't do it before we do, and people that are paralyzed or have lost the use of limbs, organs, or otherwise, they will be aided by that technology. But you can, go back through your childhood um, movie library and think about the ways that has been that sort of technological advancement, which was only something in the future, how that could be used in a dark sense. You do you want to have an army of neurolinked, I don't know, Dobermans? I don't know, that can be, you flick a switch and you're on the aisle of Doctor Oh No, and things add very badly. Now, of course, the robots are going to do that for us. There's no reason for us to be mean to pets, but just like with drugs and other things, we control to make sure that the experiments on pets and certainly on humans are done in a way that are ethical. And when you're thinking about the word ethical, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, and others are not the first people that you think of. This so the short interest I'm going to be tracking over time. It kind of leads into another part of a podcast that I'm going to do later in the week about Donald Trump's plans for after the midterms, because his commitment, and I put that in scare quotes, because all of these tech bros and other leaders of industry, oil, tech, otherwise, Zuckerberg and Maria, Jeff Bozos, all these guys are like, we're good, right? I mean, we wrote big checks, we laid buck ass naked, face down on the White House lawn for your entertainment, our Fuhrer, our king, our overlord, my liege. We did that for your entertainment, and we debased ourselves just to make you feel like a big boy. And we did all that, so we're good until the end of your reign of terror. Isn't that true, Donald? I mean, we're your guys, right? I mean, we gave you millions. We may end up giving you billions. We may end up giving you an equity position in our company that survives your presidency and miraculously follows you and your family in perpetuity. So, we're safe, right? Yeah. You can you just you take go to bed at night and think about someone you would trust less than Donald Trump, who is not named, Hannibal Lecter, Jeffrey Dahmer, you know. eh, He would he is so overwhelmed by grievance and petty little hissy fit bullshit that he can turn on people in a second. He wants to use his tariffs to be a badass, right? He crashes the farmers who vote and support him like few other groups. And then he takes your tax dollars and gives funds back to the farmers just so he could keep the tariffs in place and punish other countries so we can use the blunt cudgel of the tariffs. He also, by using these tariffs, which are illegal, but it's Donald Trump is until you fucking stop me, I'm going to do it. That also is with Scott Besant. Their appropriations are the way that governments are supposed to work. That presidents don't have any money to spend until Congress appropriates it. But here, Donald Trump doesn't want to be told what he can do. So these funds collected with the tariffs, there's a big bucket of them that are supposed to be refunded to the companies. But people in the administration have been calling the individual companies and saying, why don't you just let it go? Right? Because if you demand that we send the money back, then you're going to be litigating that for a lifetime and we're going to fuck you up because he's the king and he makes the rules. So this is kind of a private war chest that Trump can use in almost any corrupt manner he wishes. Will he be held accountable for it afterwards? Only if there are state charges that we can make stick because the Supreme Court has given him essentially, complete absolute immunity in every single case. And we'd have to get him on state charges or the ICC, which of course we've covered in at least 3 other episodes. And we'll come back to it again because it is delightful. And our hero and true leader, Zoran Mamdani, has been threatening Bibi Netanyahu, that he is not welcome in New York if he shows up for the UN meeting in September. If I am told by my legal team that I have the authority to arrest him, I would. Alas, that authority does not rest in the mayor of New York City. Now, there have been silly ass Israeli leaders, including Danny, whatever the fuck his name is, who's a UN rep, who is like an androgynous Israeli flunky from some weird movie. He's like, you, Mr. Mondani, you are the war criminal yourself, and threatening Mondani. I think that Danny's going to probably have a hard reality set in someday in New York. I can only hope. And are there ways if Mr. Netanyahu is in New York? And we know that one of the things he likes to do is eat well. Look at him. The other thing he likes to do is visit a girlfriend that he has in Queens. So Is there a way? Maybe a parking ticket, maybe a jaywalk, maybe hang a murder charge, something like that. Who knows? Diplomatic immunity? No. You're over the weight limit, sir, and your immunity has henceforth been withdrawn and canceled permanently. ICC, good enough for me, should be good enough for anyone else. Vladimir Putin's not going to be walking down any street other than one in Anchorage anytime after Donald Trump vacates the White House. And yeah, so I'm sorry, we'll just wind up on Elon. There's so much to pick on. But just look at X. Right? He has so weaponized his own platform. No, it's his. He bought it. You know, to re- to use X now and remember what Twitter was, 15 plus years ago, it was delightful. As far as just the simple need to gather news or judge public sentiment or whatever your vibe was, to share ideas. Sports betting was all up and down, in and out on that in the good old days. And yeah, I mean, all sorts of things. Narco terrorists, drug dealers, everybody was there, and it wasn't heavily regulated. Were there bad people? Were there bad words? Was there occasional nudity and things like that? Sure, but it has now become a cesspool, which is weaponized against anybody that's on that platform that has views that are antithetical to the Nazi Party or the Trump regime is minimized and given. It's it's suppression. But who's going to who are you going to call? Ghostbusters are not available. There is no regulatory body that is actively ensuring the rights of individual U.S. citizens in regard to social media. Individual states now doing a better job with kids, stepping up individually, enforcing, making sure that in their state that social media companies are doing age verification. And like we learned in Australia, it's not a perfect system, but it takes time. We have to be patient. We have to put all the onus on the companies, not it's not on the parents. It is too, but that came earlier. If they fuck that up, then that's maybe a lost battle. But these guys have so much technology at their fingerprints, and they're making so much money exploiting us and children that we have to put the onus on them 100% to do the age verification or pull their ticket and fine it. Now, down in Australia, they just doubled up the range of fines, first infraction, second, etc., to I think a second infraction is like $20 million. Not the end of the world for these guys. That'd be a lot for you and me, but not for Zuck. He just paid 170 million for his house down in Miami. He can probably handle that, but it's important to levy the fine, enforce it, and collect it, and then be very public about it. And they need to be embarrassed because they don't have shame. But if that very public blast, if they see that as detrimental to their growth, that they could lose subscribers, or there could be a boycott, which is my favorite word in the English language, in a collective action kind of way. And of course, we're going to have a lot more of that coming up to the elections. But to if you can't shame them, make it hurt in their wallet. So, and we could certainly do that to X. Now I am a hypocrite because I am on X. You have to be a little bit of a masochist if you're a progressive on X. But you also Blue Sky is fine because I'm on there as well, but it's just it doesn't have the reach yet that X does. And I want to see what the MAGA world is talking about, what they're sharing. They're talking about what Barron and the Tate brothers are doing, and things that are gross and reprehensible. But they're news, and they are, you know, the how long will the Tate brothers be in custody? How much will it cost them to get out of custody? That's the ongoing corruption, and we just need to keep documenting it, even as the individual crimes and misdemeanors are so numerous that it's human nature to like throw up your hands and say, "How the fuck can I keep track of all of this stuff?" Right? We got to do our best because there will come a day of reckoning here, there, somewhere else at the hands of you know the Rob Bontas of the world, the state attorney general in California, the Letitia James, excuse me, Madam James, to me. Uh, you know, there will be a chance. Florida, will we have a tame attorney general in our lives that could press forward and take out in a not in an 86 way, but you know, make charges stick against any Trump family member, any generation, forever and ever. Maybe, all things come to pass. So thank you. And we'll just, shots at Elon. Would I like to just say I'm going to unsubscribe to? I've already done that to, Amazon Prime. I unsubscribe. I'm not a good Disney. I'm not a good target audience for Disney, so I wasn't there to begin with. But I'm not going to do anything with Paramount. Yes, I'm on TikTok. I am. That's part of the Dark Star. That's the Ellison family, and that is providing information to some degree from the U.S. to the Chinese Communist Party. Everyone on U.S. TikTok is at risk of having their data shared with the Chinese. Not at risk. They do, in fact, have all of their personal data shared with the Chinese Communist Party because that's the agreement that the Ellisons and Trump have to get and keep TikTok in the market, right? Because they will be using TikTok as a weapon of war in the upcoming elections. And they know the value of it, like they know the value of Twitter, X. And Elon, of course, will do anything that Trump says in that regard, too. But take every opportunity you can, support, even if you sent on X, on whatever platform you prefer. If you're looking at a representative in Spain who is singing a lullaby calling Trump Mr. Genocide, right? Support that person, you know, give them a follow, give them a couple of shares, likes, tell two friends, read their work, support their work. You know how it works. Even though you don't need to donate money to a sitting member of Spain's cabinet, but engage because we need the strength. When Ms. Maroney turned around and started saying "fuck off" to Donald Trump, we applaud that. We need more people to do the same thing. We need Andy Burnham, the new Prime Minister of the UK, to stand up against Nigel Farage because that's how fascism gets into Great Britain more than it is already. France. What can you do? Support alternative candidates to Marine Le Pen, alternative candidates to Rally. It might be distasteful. They may not fit your bill, but we got to keep them out. Support candidates if you're a German speaker, and ugh, yeah, very, very limited vocabulary for me. But there are technological crutches we can use to achieve near fluency these days. And I am forever following the AFD because they are going to have another rousing year coming up continued success coming up in September in Germany. And that matters because of the size of the economy. The overarching theme there, that the connective tissue between Germany and the US is the giant auto markets and the risk that China poses. And that'll be either tomorrow or the next day on this episode because I've just been doing a lot of digging about, you know, is it 100% guarantee? No, there's no 100% anywhere in life, but some delightful opportunities that Donald Trump could exploit in the final 2 years of his reign as president to turn to do things that would shock and amaze Trump watchers, to get into bed with people that were seen as enemies are now friends because they're involved in the same corrupt mission. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Beautiful light here in northern Massachusetts. A few mosquitoes, a little bit of rain, but nothing that's going to keep us off the deck. And wishing you a beautiful night. Thank you for joining. I will. I'll be back with you sometime tomorrow. And kindly, if you wouldn't mind, do the subscribe if you haven't. It's free. Tell two friends that it's free because free is a good price. Uh, Restack, share on another platform. All those things that I ask almost every day, but I don't ask for much in return. If there's anything I can do as far as trying to help you elevate something you're working on, then drop it underneath this episode in the comments. If I can be helpful, I would be happy to. So, thank you, and great night, and stay out of trouble, and get a neighbor to register to vote, and make sure that your identification game is tight. Thank you. Have a good night.